a new spoiler and a new
Yep,
trunk.
we can even do that too.
Okay, I get it. I suppose you can also do a radio show too, huh?
Well, as a matter of fact, join me every Monday at 10 for auto repair with personal care here on The Source.
Of course you do.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala.
Diamonds in the sunset, now your time has come.
All right, 10 minutes after 9 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. It's a little bit chilly out there, and temperatures are rising, and the forecasters say we're almost back to normal here in Central Florida, so don't worry. Right? Although right now it's still 34 degrees, which is very unusual for us. If you're anywhere else in the country listening to us, you're saying, oh, you poor babies. Well, 34 is cold for us. It is cold for us.
Or was it?
You know, when I was a kid, Robin, I know this is a weird way to introduce our next guest, but when I was a kid, do you remember Super Balls? The balls that would bounce really high? You could remember them?
Oh, yeah, I had a green one.
You had a green one. Well, I had a black Super Ball, and I lost it. And I knew it had to be in my room somewhere. And so I decided to have a search and rescue for my Super Bowl. This is like 50 years ago. And I said, okay, I'm going to do every square inch of this room. It's got to be in here somewhere. So I'm just going to every square inch look for it. And I found it. And then, you know, when I got older, I thought, wow, I wonder if you could actually apply that for people. And we have a lady on the phone who can answer that question. I don't know if they search every square inch of the planet. I don't know how search and rescue experts do this, but we have somebody who could have a very intelligent discussion about that. Plus, she happens to be a very talented author and has written a novel based on her expertise. She is M.L. Rowland, and she is a search and rescue veteran, a best-selling author. It happens to be a mystery novel. It's called 0 Degree Murder, and from what I understand, it's the first in a series. So we're going to talk about the book and, of course, about what she has done for a living as far as searching and rescuing people, and maybe even more than just people, maybe dogs, maybe Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Maybe guys who put crop circles down, right? Sorry, it's kind of weird topics we had yesterday. M.L. Rowland, good morning, M.L.
Good morning.
Thank you for being on the air with us. Where are you? Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from South Central Colorado, which is about 2.5 hours southwest of Denver.
And is it 0 degrees there?
No, actually it's not. It's a balmy about 28 degrees, so not too bad compared to the rest of the country.
Do you know what's funny about the word balmy? The only time we use it is when we use it wrongly. Right? Nobody ever says it's a chilly 105. Everybody says it's a bombing 2. Right. Well, anyway, so thank you for being on the air with us. This is a fascinating thing you've done. So we've kind of got two conversations here we want to talk to you about. So let's talk about the search and rescue part of what you do, and then we'll kind of work that into the storyline in the book.
Okay.
How far back does this go? How did you get involved with that kind of work?
My husband and I moved to Southern California in the early 90s, and he has been in the rescue business for a while, and we saw an ad in the paper that the local team was looking for members. And so we said, hey, this is a good thing to do. This is a good way for us to do to serve our community, and we can do it together. So we joined the team, and we were probably on the team for about a dozen years.
Wow. And did you do like what we see in the news, like when there's a person lost in the woods, that they'll get a whole line of people and they'll literally be, 5 feet from each other just walking through the woods looking for anything?
That is done. It's actually called a grid search. But that's more of a last resort. Usually what happens is you send out, contrary to appearances, searches should be very well organized, and you send out your trackers first to try to track the person. And a lot of times those grid searches are used when other methods have failed, or the person has been missing for a long time, that kind of thing.
And are the missing people always is probably a bad word because nothing is always ever. But I mean, was it typical that they would be accidentally lost, like in a snow avalanche or something, or are they sometimes intentionally hiding?
Actually, sometimes they are intentionally hiding. Sometimes they are criminals, or they're on the run. One time I remember tracking a little boy was camping with his family. He was about 5, I think, and he had a track. Well, he was wearing flip-flops, and they were in the shape of a peanut, and he was walking all over. He walked up and down the road. He left the road, and we were tracking him, and we probably tracked him for a good 8 hours, realizing very quickly that he was not interested in being found. And he, in fact, was found, but not until the next day. So he spent a pretty cold night outside.
Wow. And
Wow,
8
5 years old?
5?
Yeah, he was 5.
Wow, that's terrible. Wonder why.
Wow.
He must have done something wrong. He didn't want to be found. So in order to find somebody, I mean, if you have a peanut-shaped flip-flop, and you're walking in sand, you might be able to see it pretty clearly.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm guessing everybody doesn't leave tracks.
No, that's true, and actually that's one of the... I'm going back a little bit with the basic training that search and rescue team members are required to have. The basic level, search and rescue technician level 2, the National Association for Search and Rescue has a basic skills test that you're required to pass. It's a written test and it's a field test. And one of the aspects of that test is tracking. So you do learn the basics of tracking, and it's not always this clear footprint that's stamped in the ground. And I'm going to hark back to my book just a little bit, because the woman in the Gracie Kincaid, who's the main character of the book, does quite a bit of tracking in this book. And you'll see that sometimes you get a stamp, sometimes a footprint stamped in the dirt, sometimes you get a teeny corner, sometimes you get a little tiny bit of a zigzag or whatever the tread is, and that's all you have to go by. Sometimes it's as little as how a stone has been moved and it's left a millimeter of a crevice of a shadow, something like that. That may be all you have to go by.
Oh,
Wow. And is the book based on the search and rescues that you've done?
Yes, the plot itself isn't. I never had to confront a murderer in the wild, but the locale, the setting, the small town in the mountains of Southern California is very suspiciously similar to where I lived. And a lot of the descriptions of the area are where we lived. A lot of the circumstances, the search and rescue protocol, and that kind of thing, that was drawn from my own experience. So a lot of what you read in the books is based on my personal experience or experiences of the team members or my husband as well.
And everybody on the team works together, no matter what gender you are. You're all accepted by one another, right? When you do these?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There can't be any special allowances for gender. There can't be any dispensations, based on gender. There are differences in physical ability, but I had to be able to rely on my team members for my life, and they had to be able to rely on me for my life and for their lives. And what I wasn't able to do physically, I made sure I made up for in other areas, such as knowledge, training, expertise, that kind of thing.
Our guest is M.L. Rowland. Her book is 0 Degree Murder. I want to be sure we talk about the book itself, the storyline in the book, and we're also kind of going back and forth between that story, which we just now know a tiny bit about, and her work as a search and rescue person. So let's talk about the storyline a little bit, and then go back and forth. So the protagonist is a woman similar to you.
Yes, she has some similarities to me. Her name is Gracie Kincaid, and she's single. She is a loner, and basically she is a volunteer member of the search and rescue team in the fictitious town of Timber Creek in Southern California. And basically this is a volunteer job for her, but search and rescue is her life, and the guys on the team basically are her family.
And the story takes place in cold temperatures.
It doesn't start out that way.
Okay.
That's part of what happens to Gracie. As can happen, you can get called out any time a day. We carried pagers and we're called out, or we're on call 24/7. So Gracie gets called out on Thanksgiving Day for some missing hikers in a nearby wilderness area, and they're a group of movie cast and crew, which includes hot British movie star Rob Christian. So it's already dark by the time Gracie hits the trail with her teammate, whose name is Steve Cashman, and things begin to go downhill when the tracks Gracie and Steve are following lead them down into a very steep, very deep canyon, where they do end up finding Rob Christian, who is injured and hypothermic, but he remembers nothing of what happened to him except that there was a lot of blood and that someone tried to kill him.
Oh, wow.
And then from there, events go from bad to worse to nightmare.
Now,
and yes, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No,
sir.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, ML. When we were speaking earlier, you mentioned that you had never, in your search and rescue missions, come across a murderer. But did you ever think that maybe you would? Like, did you see evidence that's made you wonder, my goodness, I wonder if we're going to come upon something really bad?
Yeah, that happens. I know there was I don't quite remember all the details, but I do know my husband and some other teammates were actually on a very steep cliff climbing after someone when they realized that this person possibly might be a murderer.
Oh,
so
wow.
Those things happen. It's very unusual. Occasionally we were called out by the local law enforcement, which in this case was the sheriff's department, to track somebody who is on the lam, or we would be brought out to do evidence searches and that kind of thing. But normally these are everyday citizens who have gotten themselves lost or hurt or something like that.
And what kind of communication does Gracie's team have when she comes across the actor, and then they need to find the other members of his party?
Well, they carry we call it an HT, a handheld transceiver, an 800 radio, and but what people have to remember, the people that live in cities or in flat areas, is that unless there's a transmitter or some kind of a receiver available, the transmission is very sketchy. If you get down into a big mountain and there's not a repeater up on the top of your mountain, you lose radio contact for long periods of time.
Oh, wow.
Even
that's
in this
scary.
day and age, that's
Really?
that's still the case. And you also lose cell phone reception for long periods of time. And so people often go out into the field with their cell phones thinking, if I get lost or if I get hurt, I'll just call out. Well, that's not always the case, because they may not always have reception. So that's what happens in the book. They have very spotty reception because they're in a wilderness area, a mountainous area, and they're what are called dead spots or whatever, where they can't call back out to the command post.
About a month or so ago, there was a story in the news about a family that got lost somewhere in the snow, and they were found safe. And I guess it was the father who had the understanding of how to make little fires and kept his family warm. And I don't remember all the details about how they survived. But my question to you is, when you've done search and rescues, you must have, in looking for people, acquired a wealth of information that you could turn around and share with the rest of us as to how we could survive if we ever were trapped, whether it's in the cold or in any circumstance where the elements could do us in.
Right,
I'm
right.
just, I don't even know if I have a question there, but am I right about that?
Yeah, I would like to think so.
Yeah.
One of the first things that I tell people when they say, "What do we do?" is try not to get lost or in that situation in the first place.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Really, it sounds more flippant than I really mean it, but be prepared when you go out, and be prepared even if you're going out for a drive in your car. If you're going out on a hike or something, tell somebody where you're going and when you're expected back, and then leave yourself a buffer zone and say, okay, well, 2 hours after that, if I'm still not back, then call out the troops, call the sheriff's department or the police department, and call out search and rescue. That way, that gives us a starting point, and that increases your chances of survival, because we're called out a lot sooner, rather than 12 hours later, 24 hours later, when somebody finally decides that you're missing. But when you do go out, you want to make sure that you bring lots of water. You want to bring extra layers. You want to bring a waterproof layer so that if you get caught in the rain and the snow, you don't get wet. You do want to carry a GPS and a phone with you, but you really, really don't want to rely on them, because GPSs are not always accurate. Cell phones don't always work. So you do want to be prepared. It's a really good idea when you go out in your car to carry a survival kit with you, have lots of water. You'll see in 0 Degree Murder, Gracie carries a 24-hour pack. And her search and rescue pack it's like Mary Poppins' satchel. She keeps pulling things out of it. So to survive, and that's what people should do. They should never think it can't happen to them, and they should always bring extra provisions with you no matter where you're going, even riding in your car.
Well, now, how do you yourself keep your psyche in check and focused on the situation and not get scared yourself or nervous? How do you stay in control?
That's a really good question, because if somebody were to say, what's the most important thing if I got lost and I was in a survival situation, it's not to go get food or find food or whatever. The number one survival tip is to keep a positive mental attitude. To keep yourself from panicking, to keep yourself calm. There was a man who survived because he had a picture of his family in his pocket, and he kept looking at his family, and he was bound and determined that he was going to return to his family alive, and that's what kept him alive. And then another really important thing is, if you find you're lost, to stay put, because there's nothing harder for searchers than to be looking for a moving target. Then after that, when you start thinking about, okay, I'm here for a while, we have what's called the rule of threes, where you can stay alive, you can survive 3 minutes without air, 3 hours without shelter, 3 days without water, and 3 weeks without food. So food is way at the bottom of your list. If you find yourself in a survival situation, you want to find shelter first. That's your number one priority.
Wow.
And then water.
I just went to your blog. It looks like you give information to aspiring authors also. Looks like you're kind of a support team leader or something like that. Some of the posts I just looked at.
I try to be.
Yeah. Well, this is this is the first in a series, so we'll be speaking to you again with some other books, right? Will the characters be the same?
I'd love that. I would love that. Gracie Kincaid, the main character, shows up in subsequent books, and so do some of the characters from 0 Degree Murder show up in the next book, some of her teammates and that kind of thing. And the second book is called Murder Off the Beaten Path, and that comes out in October of this year.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, ML, thank you so much for being with us. Let me ask you to maybe repeat. The name of the book is called 0 Degree Murder. It's on Amazon, I know, because I already found it there. You already got some really good reviews on there as well. So how else can we get the book?
It's also available on BarnesandNoble.com. It is available in Barnes & Noble stores and some of the smaller, what they call brick-and-mortar stores as well, some of your local stores. Or you can call your bookstore and ask them to carry it. Or you can go, I actually have a website, which is mlrowland.com, and you can go in there, and there are buttons for Amazon and Barnes & Noble as well.
Okay, excellent. And for those who couldn't write that down, go to the WOCA.com website, and Robin has already put the web address for the WordPress, the blog site for ML Rowland, and I guess from there you can probably find everything else. Go to our site and then look at the guest list, and you'll see ML Rowland's name at the 9:05 slot on today's date. 0 Degree Murder is the book, a search and rescue mystery novel described as frighteningly plausible. Frighteningly plausible. Well, thank you. A fun interview, and good luck with everything you're doing.
Well, thank you so much, and thank you for having me with you.
Great interview. Thank you. We'll take a little break, and we'll be right back.
That is one sound no one likes to hear, but if it happens, know that it will be reported in seconds to the right authorities. AA Lock, Dock, and Security is your company for your home and your business. AA Lock, Dock, and Security, where you can get that extra key made or have your lock rekeyed. Questions to protect your home and business? Call 352-867-1965 or stop by AA Lock, Dock, and Security at their new location, 219 Northwest 10th Street here in Ocala. Remember, be proactive, not reacting after it happens. Call 352-867-1965. 352-867-1965.
Trauma care centers save thousands of Florida lives.
But Shands UF wants to close Ocala Regional's trauma center.
An out-of-town hospital that receives millions in taxpayer money is suing to shut down Ocala's trauma center. They want to pull the plug on life-saving trauma care all over Florida. Don't let them get away with it. Trauma care increases the chance of survival in traumatic injuries by 25%. 25%.
That's right. But only 2 in 5 Floridians have the access to trauma care they need. And that's not even close to good enough.
We don't need less access to trauma care. We need more.
It's time for Shands UF to stop putting profits ahead of patients.
Stop playing political games.
Visit SaveOurTraumaCenters.org to find out how you can help keep Ocala's Trauma Center open and protect life-saving trauma care. Save more lives. Save our trauma centers. Paid for by the 60 Plus Association.
Hey everybody, this is Kelly Hart, your new host of the Ocala Magazine radio show. Join me every Friday at 10 a.m. when we bring the pages of Ocala Magazine to life with in-depth interviews from and about your community. So don't miss Marion County's favorite city magazine, Ocala Magazine, every Friday at 10 a.m. right here on 1370 AM and 96.3 FM, WOCA, The Source.
Oh, it's cold in here. Ooh, it's hot in here.
It's just right in this house.
Looks like 1 out of 3 know about climate control mechanical services in Ocala. The first didn't call 291-0185. The second didn't know to call 291-0185. The third called 291-0185. So the moral of the story? To know is one thing, but to know and take action is another. Climate control mechanical services. Just right.
Hi, I'm Leah Caruso with Strive Rehabilitation, inviting you to join me Thursday at 11 a.m. for Health Matters. Ocala Health and Strive have teamed up to bring you the latest information on good health services available to you right here at home. This vital information will help you make informed decisions about your health. So don't forget to join me here at 11 a.m. Thursday. It's news you can use from Ocala Health, Strive, and your friends here at WOCA.
Now is the time to take advantage of Florida Credit Union's CD specials. Our 36-month CD comes in at 1.26% APY. A 24-month is working for you at 1.0% APY. And our 12-month at 0.75% APY. All CD rate specials require $10,000 minimum. With friendly service and rates like these, it's not hard to see why Florida Credit Union has your CD options covered. Florida Credit Union, connecting your money to your life. Call 352-237-8222 for more information. Must act by 1/15/14.
Hi, Robin. You look tired.
I am. I've been running all over town.
Why? Why not drive?
I need to get this stupid document notarized.
Well, that's easy. You need personal service.
Duh. That's what I've been looking for.
You need to go see Mark at the Personal Service Center. He can notarize that for you, make copies, fax it wherever, or send it out in the mail. Heck, he can even scan it and email it for you.
Really? Where is he at?
2375 Northeast 25th Avenue, on the corner of Northeast 25th Avenue and 24th Street. You can call him at 789-6683.
Personal Service Center. Thanks, Larry.
Greetings, good citizens. Join me, Duke of York, and Margaret of Anjou at the 28th Annual Hogtown Medieval Fair, January 25th and 26th, and January 31st through February 2nd at the Alachua County Fairgrounds.
Join the colourful cast of characters on the streets of Hogtown, where you'll find medieval merriment for the whole family.
Cheer on royal knights as they joust for the ladies' honour, watch a living chess match, or enjoy performances by gypsy dancers and magicians.
Then wander through the marketplace, where hundreds of artisans sell their medieval wares.
Come one, come all to the Hogtown Medieval Fair.
You're listening to WOCA News Talk 1370, Ocala's source for what's happening in today's hottest, up-to-date news and topics.
I do. This heartwarming Broadway favorite takes a musical look at the marriage of Michael and Agnes and their life together over 50 years. They go through wedding night jitters, raise a family, negotiate midlife crises, quarrel, separate, reconcile, and grow old together. Ocala audiences are in for a unique experience as the original creators have reconceived the show to include a separate couple for each of the 6 episodes. I do. On stage at the Ocala Civic Theater, January 9th through the 19th.
Hey, Mom and Dad, is your college senior or recent grad home for the holidays? Then I bet we know what tops your wish list, helping them get a new job in the new year. Workforce Connection, soon to become CareerSource Citrus Levy Marion, has free job placement services they can use right now. And be sure to watch for our Hire a Grad Job Fair in May 2014. Good gainful employment is the gift that keeps on giving. Unwrap the possibilities today and call 1-800-434-JOBS or visit workforceconnectionfl.com.
We're not just the horse capital of the world. Ocala Marion County is now the hoops capital, too, thanks to the 2013 national champion CF Patriots basketball team. The McDonald Allstate Agency brings you the reigning kings of the court all season long right here on WOCA. Coach Tim Ryan and the Patriots look to defend their national crown and get set to host the state tournament this coming spring. The McDonald Allstate Agency brings you CF basketball only on WOCA, the source.
That is one sound no one likes to hear, but if it happens, know that it will be reported in seconds to the right authorities. AA Lock, Dock, and Security is your company for your home and your business. AA Lock, Dock, and Security, where you can get that extra key made or have your lock rekeyed. Questions to protect your home and business, call 352-867-1965. Or stop by AA Lock, Dock, and Security at their new location, 219 Northwest 10th Street here in Ocala. Remember, be proactive, not reacting after it happens. Call 352-867-1965. 352-867-1965.
Thank you, Joe. It's 23 minutes before 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Kind of a chilly morning. It's 37 degrees here at the Paddock Mall right now, and the forecast is calling for a warming trend, at least considerably warming. We are waiting, by the way, for our guest. Is our guest calling in right now? Okay. So real quickly, a look at the forecast. Some rain tomorrow. High temperatures tomorrow, 72 degrees. You need to know that. Lows tomorrow night, 55 degrees. So this really cold stuff is almost over. By Friday, high temperatures around 80 with lows Friday night around 60. The weekend looks beautiful. There's a little bit of rain, about 40% chance of rain for both days, but high temperatures in the lower 80s, lows at night around 60 degrees. So the cold temperatures are about done, and thank you, Joe, for putting a heater in the studio, because right now it's not warm yet in here, right?
No, but it's getting there.
It's getting there. It's a lot better than it was. I was working, it's either hot in here or cold in here.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's really hot in here.
Well, now you know how us women feel with hot flashes. That's the way it feels. It's.
I was going to say I already knew how women feel, but maybe I forgot. I'm not so sure. All right, Dr. Robert H. Wagstaff is our guest. He is a terror detention expert, and he is going to talk about. Let me make sure I have this right. He's a litigation and constitutional attorney as well. He's got a book called Terror Detentions and the Rule of Law, U.S. and United Kingdom Perspectives, Terrorism and Global Justice.
There he is.
And he's going to be talking about some of the prisoners of war that we're dealing with now. Is that our guest? Okay.
On the line.
I won't take the time. We'll be right back.
5 years. John welcomes your questions, from business to complex family matters to legal disputes. So tune in every Wednesday morning at 10:30 a.m. for Legally Yours with John Fuller, right here on WOCA 1370 AM and 96.3 FM, The Source.
Hi, I'm Yvette, and I'm here to tell you a few things about ABC Fredericks Appliance. They sell not only new, but used guaranteed appliances. When you call ABC Fredericks Appliance, they will provide service on what they sell and any appliances that you own. ABC Fredericks Appliance is located in Bellevue, right over the railroad tracks. Call 352-629-5181. That's 352-629-5181. That's 352-629-5181. ABC Fredericks Appliance.
Trauma care centers save thousands of Florida lives.
But Shands UF wants to close Ocala Regional's trauma center.
An out-of-town hospital that receives millions in taxpayer money is suing to shut down Ocala's trauma center. They want to pull the plug on life-saving trauma care all over Florida. Don't let them get away with